Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Whiteboard Wednesdays with Vanna. And today we're continuing our discussion on the 5 steps of enabling digital twins, or the advantage of digital twins within your organization. Now, in our previous video, part 1 of this, we discussed a summary again of what digital twins are, the potential benefits that you could have within your organization. And we also looked at the first 2 of the 5 steps, which is identifying a use case. Now, you probably might have a problem actually having too many use cases, right? That you actually want to, work on and potentially actually apply digital twins to this. So the takeaway from that was to really understand what questions you are answering with that digital twin approach to this. It's not really a question of what to do and what to add a digital twin kind of element to, but what not to is rather the right question that we want to answer. And then secondly, the second point that we were looking at is really establishing an understanding of the data, right? Digital twin is all about manipulating data, gathering it, analyzing it, and then obviously passing it through in terms of the AI models that you're going to be using, and then representing those within your simulated digital twin of whatever this might be, right? So those are the 2 points that we're working on. And we're now going to be looking at number 3. And as you can imagine, when you embark on something like this, you need a team of people. So you have to build a appropriate team. Now, this team, let me just spell this right. This team is going to be looking very, very different to the normal teams that you might be utilizing. This is because of the immense cross-skilled elements that you might need in that team. So you're probably going to be looking at some form of engineering, depending on the field that you're working in. And we're not just talking data engineering or anything like this. It might be industrial engineering, it might be civil, it might be something in robotics, electrics, electronics, all of those different fields of engineering in which your business is applied to. So, depending on what this is, if it's maybe you're building a digital twin for a data center, you'll be looking at somebody from facilities, you'll be looking at people from IT engineering perspective who specifically understand all of those areas. So the engineering component is pretty key. Secondly, you will need some form of IT interaction, right? So building that team will definitely be looking at those roles and really finding the right blend of people that you require. And also, if you're bringing in digital content, maybe this is in terms of 2D or 3-dimensional content, maybe it is animation that you bring in, you're going to be looking at those creators as well, right? So those roles, 3D animation, CAD specialists, people who are working within those worlds, especially if you're going to be incorporating things like Omniverse into this, where you're integrating that creator kind of model into your digital twin, you're going to be looking at those creators and their skill sets as well, and the tool sets that they're going to be bringing. And remember, that will also influence your data strategy, because that digital content or those elements that they're creating in 3-dimensional shapes or 3-dimensional images also constitute part of your data strategy. So building the right team, getting them to work together and really fit for purpose in terms of what your use case is going to be pretty key to do. Now, the 4th step that we're going to be looking at is a mistake that many people make. Now, in Africa, as you know, most of you probably from here, so we have elephants, right? And there's this saying is, how do you eat an elephant? Well, in very, very small bites. And that's the whole thing with this as well. Start your digital twin journey, start it small, right? And the reason for this is that we tend to run away with our visions. And we think about, we brainstorming, we get creative and those juices are flowing. We're inspired by what we've seen, the different technologies and how we can make things better for everybody. And we tend to kind of expand what we're able to do with digital twins. Now, as a first project, just start small. Just get small wins, right? So piece that big vision down into manageable, measurable areas that you can actually show value very quickly. When we try and do this big boil the ocean kind of approach, this whole big bang kind of thing, you typically, don't have the ability to scale to match the requirement of that upfront. You're setting unrealistic expectations. And, it's very difficult to actually test and, kind of make sure that you've got the process right going forward. So start small and an iterative process augment what that use case is and then build that out until you have that total vision, or where you can make the process that you've created repeatable in other areas of the business where you might require digital twins to be put together. So be careful, start small, really understand what you're trying to do, and it's much simpler to show value very, very quickly when you start with small increment elements to go for. And that leads us into showing that impact, right? What do we need to do? And that's step 5, right? And step 5 is a composite. We want to be able to measure, we want to communicate, right? And we want to make impact, right? So measure, communicate, and impact what you're doing. And this kind of ties up all the way to step 1. When you identify that use case and when you identify in step 2 that data strategy that you're working on, you want to be able to make a measurement on those elements specifically. So already when you decide on these things, understand what success means. What does it mean to win at this level, right? And then also being able to communicate that back. So what is the effective means? What's the channel that you're going to be using into your organization? It's almost a bit of a marketing plan that you need to put together in terms of how do you build that groundswell for what is happening within this? And also then articulating that impact that we want to make as well. Answering the question or setting a purpose for why your digital twin project is running is key in being able to show what that impact needs to be. So in your business, whatever you've identified as that use case must have a clear purpose, you must be able to tie that back to the impact and business value that is going to create within the world that you're doing this. So when we actually then look at those 5 steps, we've already named them. In summary, obviously we want to identify that use case. We want to set a purpose, right? So we can, kind of make those 3 Ps what we're working with as well, right? So this whole overarching element is, what's the purpose we're doing this for? What's the type of people? Who are the people that we need? And then what's the process that we're going to be using to do those things? And those 3 Ps, purpose, people, and process, is really the governing principles. There's a 4th P for you, right? The governing principles for actually doing these projects when it comes to this. So we really appreciate you joining us for discussing the 5 steps of getting started with digital twins. It's really something to explore further, and if you'd like to do so, please feel free to reach out to us at datasciences.co.za. We really appreciate speaking with you guys, and we appreciate you guys joining in for our episode today. So please, thank you for all of this, and have a great time. Please don't forget to like, share, and follow our LinkedIn page.